car is definitely evolving. The front and the rear look awesome. There's a huge hole in the side. You know, this is still, it's all conceptual. Until we put that mold on there, anything can happen. Got these wheel dollies from Eastwood. They're pretty cool in that typically you would have to jack the car up with a floor jack and slide this tray under them. But this has like a telescoping ram with wheels on the end. So as you pump it, it contracts and it squeezes the tire up off of the floor. Now the cool factor with these is you can rotate the car any which way. You know, I'm gonna need to look at this from the side profile, come up with a concept for the side panels. That's the thing, it's a work in progress, it's developing. You know, our main issue was, is the nose too long? And I think it works. You know, that's really what the side view shows. What we have now is all the elements on the wish list. The giant trough in the back, cool wraparound motorcycle helmet windshield, really exaggerated nose with the deep vents. So we're gonna need to tie that all in, but I think a good segue into that is to connect the dots. You know, there's a giant hole in the side of the car. See what develops with that, you know, creatively, and then we'll mix and match, decide how to blend them all together. I'm gonna drop this on the ground. So here's the deal. You know, this is the old fender. It's been pushed out 4 inches. I gotta create a whole new rocker panel that's easily 4 inches wider. Got a couple ideas with some vents in here and a way to improve on this access point. Everything has to start from somewhere. You know, my typical formula is just a blank slate. Just set up something before Victor gets here, and then we'll hash it out. I'm really trying to give this car a truly exotic flavor, you know, one-off, unique, and I think the side offers a ton of potential. We got all this left over from the front hood. Let me see what this does. The main point of concern with this car is that there are no doors, so the roof is the access point. It opens and shuts. That seam has to look good with whatever design we come up with.
Ian, what's going on?
Doing a little graffiti, as usual. I set the table for the big meal, and he comes in and devours it.
Yeah, this is just too straight. It doesn't have no dimension. This whole car's got curves and angles, and I want nothing straight on the car. So this is perfect because we have no choice. But from this point here, we start to take it in to 3/4 of the way in, just take it straight to this angle.
First thing Victor's describing to me is he wants to create this large bulge in the rear fender that will be an air vent leading into the engine bay.
That's pretty awesome. Yeah, check it out from here. Look at how it actually gives shape to the bumper too. Look at how it's going down.
So it'll actually turn under and hit right up against that rocker.
That's like, yeah.
Well, let me take this off and we'll do a paper template of what that roof opening. That way we can lift the roof and see what's gonna happen.
Okay, cool.
Not only are we designing this vent opening, it has to work with the door opening. You know, the roof opens and shuts. Victor really wants to be able to get inside the car comfortably, so those 2 points are gonna determine what the style is. So here's the deal. The whole issue with lifting is we're scrubbing across this whole line. So if you can live with tapering this back a little. As per the usual, Victor's all ideas. You know, he's like, I want a rear vent, I want a front vent, I want this, that, the other thing, and a lot of good ideas on the table. Comes together. You just get the clients out of the room, we build the cars. This thing is fleshing out. This is the car that I envision, you know, this is what I'm talking about. Massive intake for the vent, very shallow door, you know, it just looks like a fighter jet cockpit. The fenders look fast, it's pretty trick. I want to see this fender continue all the way to this point. I want the front fender to go right down into the beginning of the vent. Then the roof panel just comes somewhere in here, and that small little roof lifts up. I'm gonna commit to this mock-up. Might mean my career, my reputation, my job here. But I say no front vent, very trim roof line, and one massive rear vent. I can go on for days. I can just talk the talk, but nothing's gonna prove it like putting in a couple more pieces and letting the boss check it out.
Ian, what's up?
Hey man, I got some progress.
Wow, you definitely changed that around a lot, so you got rid of the vent in the front.
Well,
What happened?
Like you were saying, the car was telling me what to do. At first, Victor walks in and he's not really digging it. I don't think he likes it. You know, he's like, where's the front vents I asked for? In trying to figure out how the vent should look, and I don't know, I can't figure out. I tried like a crescent shape, tried an egg shape, I tried a whole bunch of different stuff, and it just always looked wrong. I know Victor's asking for a front vent, but I was feeling like a bigger fender, you know. Either way, it's not a loss, it's a point to develop, you know. We have something to work with. Every conceptual line was drawn on this car, and it just seemed better blank. The main reason I arrived at that area in the roof, that curve, I'll show you, we can open it. It looks so much nicer the way it comes around to the cowl opening. So we can lift her up. You know, he's looking around, not too pleased, and even more so about the size of the door than the front vent missing. You know, he was always saying he's got to get in and out of the car, and that's not happening with this design.
I'm not a spring chicken anymore. I mean,
Right.
I'm not an acrobat. I can't do that anymore.
You know, Victor's getting back to basics here. He's like, you know, I'm no spring chicken. We need to get a little more conservative with this. And I'm thinking conservative, that is like the opposite of Victor Cacho.
Right there, it looks the best open, literally. That's design concept wise, that's it. The problem is, I gotta get in this thing and out of it, and I don't wanna, hey man, that's the coolest car I've ever seen. Too bad that guy can't get in and out.
All of a sudden, Victor starts drawing a bigger door. Same flavor as what was established, but just bigger. And that, to me, starts to look a little less cool. Right, so you got this,
Yes,
you got this,
yes.
then that's got to somehow tie it, so you're damn close there. Maybe you can meet me halfway like that.
Yeah, because then we still got the front end opening too. That would do it, because I just gotta get my foot in. Am I there? Am I clearing it?
Yeah, man, I'll put some high heels on you. You'll be fine.
I picked here, you picked here. Let's go 50-50.
All right.
And that's what it is.
As usual, it works. You know, we meet in the middle. Something's looking better than it would have otherwise. Victor and I got the design of the side of the car nailed. Now I just got to build it. First step is to get this thing into fiberglass and work on completing it. So at this point, we are strictly on to prepping this for the mold. Everything here is to just create a nice mirror finish block sanded surface. The roof opening door section will be cut out later after the mold's done. So this is a giant generic shape. Although this still opens right here, I'm going to be able to just draw the brand new one. We're going to carve that in, and the mold will reflect that new line. Typical modeling scenario, you know, paint it gray, neutral tone, stand back, check it out. I really mellowed out that pronounced bulge on the front fender because it was affecting the final line opening of what the roof parting line was going to be. So in having this nice smooth surface, I can redraw that and then kind of get a feel for what the proportion is. Yeah, just sitting back looking at it, you know, the fender before was this really bulbous shape towards the rear, and I think that this line will bring it back. I'll carve that in, and the mold will represent the new parting line for the roof. The whole thing with drawing or taping the lines where the opening will be is a point of debate, and that fortunately won't have to be established till even after the mold is done. I'll be able to modify that right up into the very end. So you see, it puts that round shape back in the fender just by having a line drawn on it. Plenty of room to step in, not stepping over the vent like Victor didn't want. You know, the vent is greatly decreased from what I had originally conceptualized. But in doing those few minor things, the rocker panel looks completely blank, totally generic, not okay. Crazy thing is that almost works as a vent, as an open area. For this rocker panel, I've got a brand new old idea. We're gonna use another piece of the Sterling. Oh, look at that. The concept of this Sterling rocker panel is actually really cool, and putting it on the car, you know, it almost works. Nothing fancy here, simple water pipe. You get it at every home supply store. But we're gonna make a supercar out of it. The Sterling panel is a really curvy thing. You know, it looks like a dune buggy on the bottom. It's very swoopy, so the PVC will offer a very straight shot from the front to the rear tire. Getting this bottom line established, it's looking good, but the area towards the rear tire where the vent is just doesn't look right. I think I'm just gonna delete that end part of the rocker panel where it becomes a vent. Just let the concave surface speak for itself. Now I'm really curious to see what Victor's thinking about. So he's throwing me a curveball. I'm not doing what he's asking for. I just hope he likes it. Name of the game here has been a ton of body work. I got a team here helping me out. It's looking good. Victor's been kind of MIA. You know, he's got about 15 businesses. He's a busy guy. I took the reins on this. If he needs to change anything, it's got to be right now, because I'm looking to mold this.
Wow. And wow, dude, come on.
Long time no see, compadre.
You don't sleep? I've only been gone a few days, not months.
I got assistants, man. We got a crew doing the night shift. That's how this happens.
I'm just trying to absorb, excuse me, I'm like overwhelmed right now with like figuring out what the heck you did here.
Victor comes in and he's kind of speechless, and maybe in a good way.
Man, I love the rocker panel because it's not straight, it's coming here and then bulging out with the white tires I got for this thing.
And then he starts elaborating on dimension and flow and proportion and all that. You know you're on the right path.
All the lines and all that effort, and it's all coming together. It's a supercar, dude.
It's time for the next phase of things. Got my friend, Hardcore Bob Gore. He's coming in to be the guinea pig. I mean, to help me experiment on this mold process.
Oh, man. When I walked in, I was totally floored. He totally blew my mind when I saw what he had sitting there for me to work on.
So, you know, Victor wanted a concept sports car. So this is where we're at with it.
You're definitely on the right road there. Ian does classics and custom classic work and things that you would totally think of nostalgic, and it totally blew my mind seeing that, walk in and see that he's working on a supercar. Man, when you told me about it before and you sent me a couple pictures in the works, but this is this is beyond what I was thinking already.
The whole thing with this is that this isn't the finished car. This isn't even the car we're building. We're gonna build a mold on this.
Why are you building a mold instead of just making this the car?
Seems like every time I just throw this term, we're making a mold on the car, people just are all question marks. Bob's the same thing. Like, what do you mean? It looks like a car right here I'm looking at. And I'm saying, no, this is just a sculpture. It's about 5 inches thick.
I was gonna say, it feels pretty solid.
Yeah. And I'm creating a shell on top of it that is a negative image of the sculpture. Then you create another sculpture, the mold, and you get your finished product. By not creating a finished piece, by doing it more like a sculpture, we're able to change aspects of it. And in the end, the mold will give us a really lightweight finished body. But this thing has to weigh 3,000 pounds as it is, just the body. Everything I've done so far has been in order to get to this mold process. So this is like the critical moment. I think we should do a practice on this Mustang hood because all these contours, if we can get it to release off that, I don't see anything with this amount of draft on that car. The first step here for me is to just examine the process, just test it out on something that doesn't have a lot of draft. In other words, not a lot of negative space that the mold can hook onto. So I've got this car hood and I think it represents a good amount of detail, nothing more dramatic than the shape we have. The worst case scenario is that we glue this mold to the car and we can't break it off. You ruin the whole car.
You mean you could actually stick the mold to the vehicle itself, to the model?
And that would be a disaster. Imagine we build this huge fiberglass structure and it's glued shut. We ruined the entire project so far. If this mold sticks to the car, all of the design we've done, all of the sculpting is at a loss. It's trapped in this giant blob of fiberglass.
Wax on, wax off. Yes, Sensei.
That's
yes,
exactly
Sensei.
it. The true joy of being in this managerial position at this point is that I get to stand back and watch the show for a minute. You know, I'm usually the guy thrashing, sweating it.
I got the agent on there. What happens if I didn't get it on there the right way?
I don't know. That's your job. Through this whole thing, Bob is super concerned. You know, he's taking this to heart like it's his reputation on the line if it fails. Bob's got this covered, I'm sure. Just have a little lunch break, watch the process.
Can I have a bite of that sandwich, man?
Oh, sure. After the release agent's in place, the only different aspect of the fiberglass process is putting this layer of gel coat. What the gel coat does is creates a nice smooth black surface. It basically keeps the fibers in the fiberglass off of the surface of the finished mold piece. What I'm gonna do is just pre-cut all this fiberglass, because as soon as that starts set and 3 coats of that, we're gonna just layer this right on top. It's all the same material.
Usually when I come in, I get to watch Ian do his thing and then add my twist to it or whatever I have to offer to it. I didn't expect to be put on the hot seat and say, here, if this doesn't work, it's on you, Bob.
This is looking good. You're hired. The resin sets up pretty quick. You know, here we are 25, 30 minutes later, and it's hard. It seems like we could pop it off. Wow, it works. At this stage, I'm 50-50. I have no idea. Just in putting this wax on the surface, what do I know? That's just what they told me to do. I've never tried this. Thing is, I'm just working the edges. You know, you gotta start somewhere, so I don't know if we're gonna crack this or break it. We're just working the edges, trying to get something to release. Holy moly.
Yeah, baby.
Look at that.
Oh, man.
Totally worked. As soon as there was enough pressure, it just released. It's a
Victory.
Mustang hood.
Victory.
You know, setting it on the car, checking it out. It's like, okay, we're gonna do this to the entire vehicle. What we just did is just a drop in the bucket.
Ian, how you doing?
Down to the wire, man. You've been sanding and sanding and sanding.
Man. Looking pretty awesome, man.
Victor hasn't been here for a minute, and the 3 of us have been hammering on this thing. There's a lot of dust in the room. Stuff's been happening. It's the thing, without these 2 guys, it wouldn't have happened this quick, man.
Man, you're on. How you guys doing, man? You've been working out.
That's
I
it.
thought you were the guy that doesn't sleep, and you got my guys that are working 24/7.
I'm the manager now. I stepped
Hey,
up, man.
it's
I get
about
the
time,
management.
man. I'm glad.
Victor's responding to all the block sanding. He knows what it takes to make a straight car. It's looking good. What I really wanted to show him was this mold experiment we just pulled off and how that's gonna transfer to the next step in the process. Well, we got this hood here. It was just laying outside.
Where did you get this at?
This is the mold. This is the whole process.
You did this?
Yeah, we did this yesterday.
You're kidding.
So I just had this old fiberglass hood, and you know, this was made in a mold, so we made a mold on it. And what we learned was, you know, obviously the gloss paint really helps with the release. See how smooth it is?
I see.
But what we learned too, see, it took some of the car with it. See this here?
Yes.
This was scratched in the hood, and of course, when you make a mold, you get a perfect scratch in reverse.
That's pretty awesome.
He's definitely relieved. You know, there's kind of been this like gray area on the end finish here, and showing him this mold, he is all charged up. The nicer the masterpiece is, the better the mold is. So instead of body work in the mold, we'll just get that perfect, paint it, and then do the work on the mold. Once we make the mold, it's permanent. The only question is, what are you gonna change now?
Well, that's the question. You know me.
It's your last chance.
Yeah.
I'm all amped up to get on with this, you know? I've got my salesman suit on, and I'm telling Victor, now's the time, man. It's gonna happen. If there's anything you need to change, speak now or forever hold your peace.
All right, well, let me give it one last look then.
Victor's sweating it, you know? He's a man who loves to modify stuff, and he's taking it to heart, you know? It's like the guy at his wedding, and he's not 100% sure. It's like, dude, is it yes or is it no?
You know what, Ian? I'm committed. Let's go for it. No more changes. I'm done.
Praise the Lord. That's it. Victor gave the word. Go ahead. Get this thing finalized, get it painted. Let's get to the next step. Got this thing painted, dialed in. It's looking good. The whole concept here was the color choice will not be represented in the end. It's a gray tone. The main thing I wanted was a reflection. That's how you can look down the sides and be sure they're straight. That's what we need to get this mold going. This thing is really shaped up. You know, all that block sanding totally pays off when you get a clear coat on it. It's time to get on with making this mold. First things first, I want to get the car up in the air, stable-like, because I'm gonna have to do a lot of work and underneath and around the fender wells and stuff. I got these quick jacks. They'll lift the car almost 2 feet. Really cool. I don't like to have a lift in the shop, but they always seem to be in the way. So these guys, you just roll them out, put them under the car and lift it up. It's just like anything else. You work in as comfortable a position as you can. I'm gonna have to do a bunch of stuff up in the fender wells, under the rocker panels. So in other words, it's not so high up, I can't reach the roof. There's no pillar in the way you'd see with a standard vehicle lift. Full 360 access, about 1.5 feet off the floor. It's perfect for what I need. I think a typical car mold is built in like 7 or 8 pieces. I think we can get away with a 5-piece mold. In other words, the hood will split in half, left and right. The roof and door sections will be 1 piece, and then the right and left rear quarter panel will pop off independently. This is an exciting part for me because the whole build has led up to this moment. Instant wheel arch. The whole thing with the parting line is the mold has to separate. When you reassemble the parts, you want to be sure that they don't shift, because otherwise you're going to have a big step in the surface. So my simplified keyway is using this board. It's a door jamb with ridges. So you have this series of ridges, and then they index every time. In other words, it's not going to move up and down because it's keyed. The first step of the process is exactly like what you saw on the mock-up with Bob. Just gonna put this release agent on. The one difference is this time it absolutely counts. Hey, what's up? Oh. What is this, Fashion Week? Come here. Shop inspector's here just for one quick glimpse at the magic. You know, he knows this is not the standard procedure. He's very concerned, so it's a toxic environment. Bottom line is I am going for this solo. Unsupervised, no inspection, no quality control, anything could happen. Later, Wonder Mutt, it's been real. After the release agent dries up, first step is gel coat 3 times. 3 layers of gel coat, that helps keep the fiberglass fiber off of the surface. Gel coat is on, now 3 layers of this. So I'm cutting up fiberglass mat now. It's gonna be 3 layers. First layer I'm starting with is super thin. I noticed with that other test, these heavier panels were having trouble molding into the contours, and I want to be sure that it lays down. So the first layer is ultra light. The thing I'm responding to is how much effort this takes, you know. I've heard about hand-laid parts, how they're kind of superior and that they're a really perfect fit up. The thing I had no idea was how much material is used. This is 1/5 of the mold, and it's just taking a ton of product. It's gonna get real ugly before it gets better. Hopefully Victor doesn't get traumatized. Passenger side is 1/2 of the nose piece. I'm gonna do the same exact process on the driver's side. That represents the nose. Get those in place, pull it off. I knew when I was laying this up, it was grabbing in some places. I knew I'd have to do a little trim work to get it off, so going in, going around the edges, same thing as the test piece, just trimming back the sides. At this stage, I'm feeling confident. There's no reason it shouldn't work, but this is the moment of truth. We gotta pull this thing off. Going in, just trying to start this prying procedure, and I'm expecting it to pop, to release, like it did. I don't know, dude, it's just not releasing. I might have to get out the grinder and just start sawing into this thing. I wanted Victor to be here for this. He missed the release of the first one. You remember, it was all smiles and celebration, but it's not the case right now.
You want me to call another guy here to hop on this so 3 or 4 of us could pull on it?
Victor's not a guy who's known for his patience, He's like, problem, remedy it. He wants to call in some help.
Javi, could you come over to Ian's shop?
Okay, yeah.
All right, bye.
I have no idea what's going on in there. I've never built a mold before.
Javi, how you doing? That's perfect. All right, 1, 2, 3.
Victor's totally results oriented, so he's there, oh, pry a little, pry harder, let's get it.
Oh, see.
It's cracking the mold. Hold on. Something's trapping it here. One thing I was thinking from the start, these vents, they do have draft, they do have a bit of undercut. I'm thinking, quick solution is to cut that area out. We can always patch it in later.
Oh, yeah.
I think that was keying it in. Thing is, I trimmed this out and it's still stuck. It doesn't make sense. We have a perfectly smooth, polished surface. What's it stuck to?
Yeah, that side's coming up. It's just in here.
Oh, did you hear that?
Yeah,
There
see.
went, the whole thing came up.
All right, let's go on the count of 3, all of us, I guess. 1, 2.
There it is. When it released, it's like, oh, perfect. It's exactly what we were hoping for, a half hour ago. It was glued itself to the paint.
How weird.
We will pick it up and look back at the car, and I see the paint has totally delaminated. I mean, it's a mess. The only thing I'm thinking is the paint not being cured up, it became like a glue. I guess the heat from the resin kind of caused it to become liquid again, and some of it went with the mold, some of it stayed with the car, so it was literally, that was the lock. It was a freaking suction cup. And look, it's not even stuck to the mold. It just came along for the ride. So the mold is in perfect shape. Getting this one piece released, the alarm bells start to go off. This is a problem over the whole car. This isn't unique to this panel. Let's break everything right now. Second piece comes off. I'm multifaceted, back in the salesman's role, and I'm like, no, don't look over there. This is what you're looking at, and the mold is good. Piece of cake. Might not be the prettiest, but hey, I know we got what we needed out of this. I think we made it. It was a little sloppy. We got it. Thing is, I'm in the thick of it, literally. I thought it was gonna be, oh, we put it on and we take it off, and that's not the case. This is a stumbling, messy dance. All right, that's the way it's supposed to work. We're getting results. We're not out of the woods yet. I just got one more rear panel to go, and then we can see if this mold is actually gonna work.